Before we get into today's edition of Just the Truth, Mike Lindell sent me a note yesterday. He has a special for the 6-piece towel set, $25 when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com, use promo code Joey. You'll get the $25 offer on the 6-piece towel set, and I promise you, these will be the most comfortable, the most absorbent towels that you own. mypillow.com, use promo code Joey, get the 6-piece towel set for just $25. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Donald Trump received some good news for once from a court. Trump's Georgia case has been halted by an appeals court until Fani Willis's appeal is resolved. Now, isn't that a twist? The case is delayed until the prosecutor is cleared of wrongdoing. What's wrong with that picture? We also have an update for you with what happened in Hunter Biden's trial as well. Joe Biden's cognitive performance once again being thrust into the spotlight following a new report from the Wall Street Journal this time that the 81-year-old is showing signs of slowing down during private meetings. This has renewed the speculation that Joe Biden may not actually be the Democrat candidate on November the 5th. Also, from the 5th Congressional District, South Carolina Representative Ralph Norman joins me later, and Congressman Norman says he doesn't believe Joe Biden will be the Democrat name on the ballot. You're going to want to hang around and listen to Congressman Norman. A Maryland woman is surprised to see her dog, who she thought had been euthanized due to an untreatable medical condition, is alive and well and looking for another home. Now, this is a crazy story. If you're a pet lover like me, you're going to want to hear all the details.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
There's been a lot of talk about whether Joe Biden will even be capable of serving another 4 years if the American people are dumb enough to elect him come November. As the president's trying to be more public, attending more events so that he can try to prove to you and me that he is capable of being out there, his actual decline is becoming more evident, which has Biden's cognitive performance once again being thrust into the spotlight following a new report from the Wall Street Journal that the 81-year-old is showing signs of slowing down during private meetings, and people are starting to talk in Washington. People from both sides of the aisle. Many Republicans and even some Democrats said that the president has shown his age in those settings, according to the Journal, citing conversations with 45 lawmakers and administration officials about the president's mental performance. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo joined Fox News and was asked by Dana Perino for his reaction to the Wall Street Journal's report and the many rumors that are circulating on the Hill.
This former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, a Fox News contributor. So you heard a little bit about that Wall Street Journal piece. I just want to read one more piece to you from that. This is: Biden deferred so frequently to other lawmakers that much of the conversation didn't include him. Some people who attended the meeting recalled. When questions came directly to him, he would turn to staffers, they said. You couldn't be there and not feel uncomfortable, said one person who attended. I'll just say that. You've been in a lot of meetings with presidents in your time in government. Your reaction to this story that is really pretty explosive this morning?
Well, Dana, I say this with no joy. These aren't just private conversations where we can see that President Biden is no longer up to the task of being the commander-in-chief and keeping America secure, but we see it in the public speaking that he does as well. He can't follow a teleprompter, like basic skill sets that every leader of the free world needs to have. We can see it in how he interacts with people. He has these moments that just look like he's just getting older and that his faculties are not all with him. I'm counting on our commander-in-chief to have the skill set, the mental acuity to actually deliver for America. And I think we can all see with our own eyes, we don't have to rely on the Wall Street Journal or anybody else to see that there is this real risk. And Dana, I'll close with this thought. I've been traveling a bunch these last few weeks all over the world. Leaders across the world can see this as well. They can see that when they interact with President Biden, that he is not able to follow the through line of the conversation entirely. That's not good when you're thinking about the fact that we have two wars today, a Chinese Communist Party that is moving out. This is an enormous risk to the United States of America.
White House officials, of course, are dismissing many of these accounts. But here are a few of President Biden's recent gaffes. If you go through and you do a quick search, it's easy to find. Just search in Biden gaffes, and there are a lot of examples out there. Let's go through a few of the most recent. May 20th, President Biden said at a Rose Garden event celebrating Jewish American Heritage Month that American-Israeli Hirsch Goldberg Poland, who is currently being held captive by Hamas, was in attendance. Biden said, "My administration is working around the clock to free the remaining hostages, just as we've freed hostages already. And here with us today is Hirsch Goldberg Poland." Before quickly correcting himself, he said, "And still he is not here with us, but he's still being held by Hamas," recognizing the 23-year-old's parents who were in attendance that day. Also in May, Biden appeared to claim during a campaign event, this time in Michigan, that he was vice president during the coronavirus pandemic and that former President Obama, his boss, dispatched him to Detroit to help battle the disease. Here's what he said. "And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was Barack said to me, 'Go to Detroit and help fix it.'" Now, there's a problem with that story because the coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19 as we all know it, it was named COVID-19 due to global health officials having deemed it an outbreak in 2019, transpired in the later years of former President Trump's term, not when Obama was president. Biden was last vice president in January 2017. The virus started making headlines in late 2019. Another example, this going back a little further, you're going to remember this one probably back in April. Who can forget this one when Biden, during a speech at a trade union conference in the nation's capital, appeared to read the teleprompter instructions out loud. Here he is making the speech.
"I see an America where we defend democracy, not diminish it. I see an America where we protect freedoms, not take them away. I see an economy that grows from the middle out and the bottom up, where the wealthy pay their fair share, so we can have child care, paid leave, and so much more, and still reduce the federal deficit and increase economic growth." Folks, imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pause. 4 more years. Pause. 4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years.
Now, as you heard there, the crowd kind of helped make up for his gaffe. But you heard the president say, pause. He was reading from the teleprompter, looking right at the teleprompter if you watched the video, and he read the prompt. Because you see on the teleprompter, when you're reading from one of those, and I very seldom use them, but I have used them, you have prompts in there. And so what they were telling him, give your line here and then pause and let the crowd break out, because they'd already prearranged that the crowd was going to start chanting 4 more years, which they did, and it kind of helped cover it up. But I kind of drilled down a bit, because I want you to hear it. Here's the president. I just isolated that part where you can hear him read the word pause.
4 more years. Pause, 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 pause.
Wow. And he's the man who has his finger on the nuclear button. Another example, Biden is speaking during a campaign rally, this time in Tampa, Florida. He said, "Now in America today in 2024, women have fewer rights than their mothers and their grandmothers had because of Donald Trump. Look, I don't think we're going to let him get away with it. Do you?" Biden asked the crowd, who shouted no in response. He said, "And folks, in a sense, I don't know why we are surprised by Trump. How many times does he have to prove we can't be trusted?" We can't be trusted. That's right, Mr. President. We don't trust you. Got his words a little confused there. Just another example of a man who kind of fumbles all over himself. But look, he's 81 years old. We have to give him a little grace, right? My mother, Nana Hudson's 85. She doesn't get as confused at 85 as Joe Biden does at 81. But when she does get confused, I understand it. I get it. I'm sure that when I'm 85 or 81, I'll be a little confused at times as well. And that's okay. But not if you're president of the United States, not if you're the commander in chief, not if you're the most powerful man in the world, then it's not okay. A little later, we're going to be joined by Representative Ralph Norman, and he actually asked the question, why is Jill Biden, or why does Joe Biden's family allow this to happen? Why would you put a loved one through this? One final one. Biden in 2021 claimed he spoke with the late German Chancellor Helmut Kohl, who died in 2017, by the way, while recalling past conversations during a fundraising event. Biden attended 3 campaign receptions in New York, according to his schedule. At his second and third events, he told donors about conversations surrounding January 6, 2021, as his first group of 7 meetings as president, which took place in England in June of that year. The president said that Cole asked him what he would say if he learned 1,000 people stormed the British Parliament in an attempt to deny the next prime minister from taking office. The annual meeting was not attended by Cole, as he had been dead for 4 years, but by former German Chancellor Angela Merkel. That's our president, Joe Biden. Hope you'll join the conversation today. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Send your comments to the Furman Ford text line. You can leave a quick voice message, and your emails are always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Soon going to be 4 years ago that I started my journey with PhD weight loss and nutrition. I lost 30 pounds pretty quickly, I might add, and I've been able to maintain that for almost 4 years now. It'll be 4 years coming up in July. If this is the year that you have decided that you're going to get healthy, that you're going to lose that weight, that visceral fat that's so damaging around your waist, then now's the time to start. Let me encourage you to make that call today. 864-252-4925. Set up your initial consultation with PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition. Boy, am I glad that I met Dr. Ashley Lucas 4 years ago, and that she got me on the right path to getting healthy. You're going to be able to do things that you may have thought you'd never be able to do again. Play with the kids, the grandkids, be able to hike and walk, and maybe play a full 18-round hole of golf and be able to do it and not get so winded. Because when you take that excess weight off, you're just going to feel better. You're going to be able to focus. You're going to be able to sleep better. Your overall health is just going to be improved. 864-252-4925. Call, set up your initial consultation. Find them online at myphdweightloss.com. PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition, the official partner of the Clemson Tigers. Quick update on the Hunter Biden trial. StarQuest Shooters and Survival Supply employee Gordon Cleveland testified that Hunter Biden filled out the portion of the gun application related to the drugs, which is why he's in court. Cleveland testified that he had told Biden that he decided to buy the gun, that he would need to fill out a form to complete the purchase. Cleveland said he gave Biden the form, while Biden gave Cleveland his passport as a form of identification. Cleveland also testified that he was 2 feet from Biden as he filled out the form, basically looking over his shoulder as Hunter Biden was completing this. Shown the form by the prosecution and asked if that was the form Biden filled out, Mr. Cleveland responded with an affirmative, yes. Cleveland also testified that he told Hunter Biden to fill out the form truthfully and to take your time while watching him fill out the form. He further testified that he personally saw Biden fill out question 11E, which is the question that landed Hunter Biden in court, which asked whether he was an unlawful user of or addicted to drugs, with Cleveland saying that he personally watched Hunter Biden check the no box, which is a lie. We all know that. Hunter knew it at the time. Mr. Cleveland was the highlight of the courtroom today as he drew laughter from those in the court while he answered questions under cross-examination from Hunter Biden's defense team. Cleveland, who testified that Hunter filled out the portion of the gun application related to the drugs, gave frank response to Biden's defense attorneys about his interactions with Biden at the gun shop. This was in 2018. Lowell went through the sequence of the purchase. This is Abe Lowell, one of the defense attorneys, went through the sequence of the purchase minute by minute detail. I'm sure trying to get Mr. Cleveland to stumble over one of his earlier statements. Cleveland seemed very confident throughout, though, which was disappointing to the defense team. The jury diligently listened to Cleveland's testimony, according to reports from within the courtroom, and broke out into chuckles a handful of times during his remarks. Most notably, according to the reports, jurors and others in the courtroom broke out into laughter when Cleveland said, "I like guns and I like cars," when asked how he remembered that Hunter was driving a black Cadillac on the day of the gun purchase. Lowell also asked Cleveland whether he was familiar with the phrase whale hunter. "Yes," Cleveland said, and laughed out loud. Cleveland said his co-workers gave him that nickname because he could make the big sales. Later in the same interaction, Mr. Cleveland said, "I didn't do upsells," but he also bragged that he could sell 2 Desert Eagles in a day. Mr. Lowell asked him if he also sold Hunter the ammunition, hinting that he was getting Hunter to buy more products. Drawing even more laughter from the courtroom, Cleveland affirmed the sale of the ammunition and added, "What are you going to do, throw the gun at him?" Meaning, of course they need ammunition. Why, who would buy a gun and not buy ammunition? The gun's no good if it doesn't have bullets in it, right? The court watchers noted that one of President Biden's top former advisors, who's been a business partner of a wealthy Chinese businessman with multiple CCP ties for nearly a decade, appeared in the Delaware courtroom with Hunter Biden's friends and family to support him during the trial. Francis Fran Person, who served in the Obama administration as an advisor to the elder Biden and a special assistant to President Obama, was spotted sitting with Hunter Biden's family and friends, which included, on the first day, First Lady Jill Biden, his sister Ashley Biden, and, of course, his wife, Melissa Cohen Biden. Person, who was described in a 2014 Politico profile piece as the elder Biden's confidant and like a son to Joe and me, according to Jill Biden, has been close friends with Hunter for over a decade and was often his point of contact in the vice presidential office when Hunter was trying to reach his dad. In other words, this guy was probably the one who was letting Hunter in to see Joe with all of his business associates. Joe Biden also praised Person in the profile piece, highlighting his departure from the White House to South Carolina. Yeah, I guess he lives in the Palmetto State, saying, "People know that he has my ear whenever he wants it." Less than 6 months after Person's White House departure in the summer of 2014, Person helped launch Harv's Global Entertainment, a Washington, D.C.-based affiliate of the China-based Harv Century Group, a multi-billion-dollar real estate development firm. I mean, all of these Biden-connected people have ties to China. Why is that? If the Bidens have no connection, why is it that everybody around Joe Biden has connections to China? Person whose sister worked for Hunter Biden's now defunct Rosemont Seneca Partners firm before joining Biden's vice presidential office, frequently emailed with Hunter and his longtime business partner Eric Schwerin, then president of Rosemont Seneca, about business dealings associated with Harv's Entertainment and other D.C.-based Harv's affiliates in 2015 and 2016. I mean, the plot just thickens when you learn about all these interactions between Hunter Biden, his friends, and business associates, and these Chinese companies. Meanwhile, in a Georgia court, Donald Trump got some good news yesterday. Georgia's Court of Appeals paused court proceedings for former President Trump's 2020 election subversion case while it reviews the appeals, this is funny, of the Fulton County District Attorney, Fani Willis. I mean, when have you ever heard of a court proceeding being delayed because the prosecutor was being investigated herself? And so her case has to be heard first in order to clear the way for them to pursue Donald Trump. Now, that's the irony of that story. But nothing should surprise us anymore, should it? What is important about this is the pause in these proceedings makes it unlikely that the Georgia case will go to trial before the November election. It's another win for Trump, who, of course, was convicted last week by this kangaroo court in New York. Up next, Congressman Ralph Norman joins us for a few minutes. We'll talk about the Trump trial and who could potentially be the vice presidential running mate. Whether you're replacing a broken appliance or maybe you're just upgrading, you're totally remodeling the kitchen, when it's time to get those new appliances, when you're ready for them, you don't want to have to wait weeks or even months to get started using them, right? Well, that's not the case when you shop with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. With over 11,000 square feet and 1,500 appliances at any given time, you can buy today and use today quite often. I'm talking about shopping with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse in Pickens. It's worth the short drive over to Pickens. Jeff, Johnny, Kyle, the whole team over there, they'll take good care of you. They have an award-winning service department, expert installation, extended warranties, and at Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they treat you like family. You're more than just a credit card swipe to all the team over there. Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they're proud to offer Speed Queen, the only washer and dryers with manufacturer's warranties that cover parts and labor. You owe it to yourself if you're looking for a new appliance to head over to Pickens to Discounted Appliance Warehouse online at dawpickens.com, dawpickens.com. On our guest line, Congressman Ralph Norman from South Carolina's 5th District. Good morning. Welcome, sir. How are you?
Well, great to be with you, Joey. Doing great.
Let's start with the kangaroo court that we witnessed over the past few weeks that ended with 34 guilty verdicts against President Donald Trump. You, like me, been around politics for a long, long time. Did you ever think that you would see, even from the Democrats, that our judicial system would be used as a political weapon?
Joey, and I went to the trial one day. A group of us went to New York. That's the most blatant example of total disregard for our Constitution, total disregard for the facts, and a total disregard for a man who is innocent. For something happened to have the incident to have happened 20 years ago, to use a porn star and a convicted liar like Cohen is unbelievable. And to have a judge who is supposed to be above the law, is supposed to be abiding by the law, to do what he's doing, contribute to his daughter contributing to Democrats, and it's a miscarriage of justice. But the good news is the American people see it.
Yeah.
The fundraising that Donald Trump is able to do, and the support that he's getting is great, and it's going when they, and I fully expect them to put him in jail or try to, or that's how blatant they are, and that's how disconnected they are. But when that happens, you're going to see the country revolt in a way that they're going to express their opinion, they're going to give money, and they're going to make sure Donald Trump gets elected.
Yeah. So do you really believe that on July the 11th, when we hear the judge's sentence, do you think there really is a chance that they might try to incarcerate him?
Oh, absolutely. They've been talking to the jailers there, and
wow.
Now I hope I'm wrong. I don't have any inside information that I can rely on, but I mean, look what they've done so far. Look how blatant it is to handpick a jury that's against Trump, to handpick a judge that's against Trump. No, it's nothing surprises me about the Democrats. That's why this election is the most important, and it sincerely is the most in the history of the country. If we lose this election, if Trump does not go in, then we might as well count this up for a socialistic country and do what we can.
Yeah, I just can't imagine what our country would look like with 4 more years of Joe Biden or whoever that person may be. I'm not convinced that he could serve another 4 years, but that's another question for just a minute. Let's before we move on from President Trump, let's say that the judge does sentence him and gives him jail time, and they put him behind bars. What does that do to the campaign going into November?
Well, he'll get the appeal. He'll post bond. No telling what the bond will be. You saw what they tried to do, basically take his property in New York when it was that situation with the judge. But no, I think again it'll be appealed. I think you'll have, and I've already heard this. You've got several Democrats in different states trying to get him thrown off the ballot when he's sentenced.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's going to happen, but and it's going to be overturned. I haven't heard any judicial scholar, say that this is going to stand up. It can't. This type thing is what happens in socialist and communistic countries, and so, but it's going to take time to work through it, and they're doing all they can to keep him off the ballot, keep him from campaigning, and it just hasn't worked, and that's the good news on all this. Because
they know that they can't beat him in November, so on the ballot, so they're trying to do everything they can to keep him off the campaign trail, and if they can get him off the ballot, they'd love to do that as well. A bit of good news out of Georgia for President Trump, though, today, as the Georgia Court of Appeals put a pause on the 2020 election interference case until they decide what they're going to do with their prosecutor down there, who has her own problems.
Fani Willis, and if that's not an example of corruption again, and blatantly disregard the taxpayers. Yeah. Look at what she's done with the money that she's gotten. But they know no bounds. They really don't. And it's a sad day for the country. But I think, again, there's a silver lining in everything. The American people know what the condition of the country is in. They know their pocketbook is under assault. The country's under assault. And they're going to take it out at the polls, hopefully. And hopefully it'll be a fair election.
Yeah. On our guest line this morning, Representative Ralph Norman from South Carolina's 5th District. One of the things that right after the verdict was announced, I asked my listeners, and we saw the millions of dollars that was being donated to help support President Trump. I asked listeners to text me or to email me if they had contributed to the Trump campaign and if they were a first-time contributor. And I got flooded with text messages and emails. And then I read the next day where Laura Trump had said that 30% of the donors within that 48-hour period were new donors. Now, that tells you something there, Congressman, does it not, that 30% of those people who gave over $100 million,
127 million.
127 million, that 30% of that came from totally new donors, Americans who said, I've had enough, I've got to get up off of the sofa here and I've got to do something, and what I can do best is give some money to help his campaign.
That, and you look at the times, the economic conditions most people are in now is not good. And for them to come through with money shows you they know the truth and they know what this party led by Joe Biden is trying to do, and they reject it, and you're going to see that continue when the verdict is announced.
Yeah. Let's shift gears here a bit, Congressman Norman. Talk with us about President Biden's latest attempt to convince the American people that he's trying to solve the border crisis, but you bad old Republicans there in Congress won't work with him.
Well, it's an insult to the American people. Joe Biden, to even say that when he took office 3.5 years ago, he, did away with remaining Mexico, Title 42 he did away with. He stopped building the wall, and it was a flood to the tune of 13 to 15 million illegals, including, the criminals that are military-age men from China and all the other countries that are in this country now. And I've had many meetings, as most of the other Republicans have, and it's a dire situation. It's an invasion. It's against the Constitution, and it's put this country, every citizen is at risk. Laken Riley is just the tip of the iceberg that for the things that have happened. And even in South Carolina, we've had illegals that just have wreaked havoc on people that never get reported with the assaults. And this is going on all over the country. Is the Biden administration is intentionally doing this. He knows he doesn't need an executive order. He thinks the American people are stupid. Yeah. And it's just not going to work. It's a insult is the best word I can describe.
Yeah. Do you believe that Joe Biden will be the Democrat nominee, the name on the November 5th ballot, or do you think that when they convene this summer that they might potentially choose another candidate?
I do not think he will be the Democrat nominee. I think, particularly last night, the picnic was held on the grounds of the White House, and he can't even walk out on a stage.
Yeah.
Now, we've had a front row seat for the last three and a half years. It's gotten progressively worse with him not addressing the public, having to read from a teleprompter on anything, even a thank you note. He's got to read it from. He can't remember anything. It's obvious why any spouse of a man in the condition of Joe Biden would permit their husband to go through this is unheard of. But no, I don't think he will be. The Gavin Newsom's name has come up. I know he's been a lot at the White House. I've even heard theories that he'll name Barack Obama as a VP, and then when he's replaced. No, answer your question. I don't think it'll be Joe Biden. Who it's going to be, I don't know, but they'll be of the same ilk as Joe Biden is.
Yeah. Speaking of vice presidents, you have any inside tracks on who President Trump could possibly choose for his? Now I know that you initially supported Governor Nikki Haley, and I've heard President Trump say he thinks there'll be a place for Nikki Haley in the next Trump administration. Any chance that if offered, do you think she would take the vice presidency?
Well, I called President Trump, spoke to him several weeks ago, just said, one, we're behind you. Two, would you consider Nikki Haley? And it was a better campaign. And by the way, I talked to Nikki beforehand. I said, Nikki, please call him.
Yeah.
I mean, politics we've got to win this election. Who better to be on the ticket? Who can bring the Republican Party together, and who can bring the people to the polls? She's getting 20%. Like in Indiana, the vote, she's not even on the ballot.
Yeah.
She bested 13 others to be head to head with President Trump. But I asked President Trump, let bygones be bygones. Pick the person who could bring him across the finish line, because we've got to win this election.
Yeah.
And I know of no better person than Nikki Haley.
Yeah. Yeah. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to have you on with me. Appreciate your time today. Be safe out there, and hope we can talk again soon.
Well, thanks for what you're doing, Joey. Appreciate it.
Sure thing. Hope you'll join the conversation today. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Send your comments to the Furman Ford text line. You can leave a quick voice message, and your emails are always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you could trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. On the text line, Jeff writes, Joe Biden does not care what American people think. He will pardon Hunter if he's convicted, which I don't believe he will, because he doesn't have much life left to live. He doesn't care about the pushback. You may have a point there, Jeff. Ace writes, it's all ridiculous. As far as Hunter goes, his dad has already told him to throw the Republicans a bone, thus the court circus. Joe told Hunter, don't worry about it, son. I'll make sure you don't. And Ace, you're funny here. You just have to see this text message, because he starts putting all these slurring words inside of I was arrested and I'm jail. Typical of how Joe Biden speaks. Paul writes, Paul here, minimum wage increases? ? The government should stay out of the discussion. Potential employees will migrate to the jobs which help them support themselves. If the government wants to help, then reduce the income taxes and the corporate taxes. This would result in an instant increase in the available money for the families. Paul, you and I know that. Democrats have never understood that if you reduce taxes, then people have more money in their pocket to spend. If you reduce taxes on businesses, those businesses have more money to expand, to offer more jobs. It's a real simple concept. Ronald Reagan proved it years ago. But Democrats love to tax. They can't get enough tax revenue in because they can't spend it fast enough. Appreciate your comment, Paul. Faye writes, Joey, Wednesday is my grocery shopping day, and for whatever reason, yesterday I had any number of ladies come up to me and start talking about current events. These ladies were furious about how Biden had stolen and destroyed our country and the world. They said putting a meal on the table was a real challenge when hamburger is $8 a pound. I told these ladies they must keep this anger till November and vote soon as they can. Trump 2024. Faye, that's a good point. That's a very good comeback to people when they're expressing their frustration of where we are today, is to say, just hold on to that anger. Bridle that anger until November the 5th or when early voting starts, and go vote. Let that's one time, the old saying about anger, like an email, read an email, maybe even let it wait overnight before you send it. If it's an angry email because you're defending yourself against something or whatever, we don't want that to happen when it comes time to vote. When you get good and angry and it's time to vote, go vote then. Better yet, go fill your car up with gas and then go vote. Or go grocery shopping and then go vote. Just don't buy anything that needs to be refrigerated. A texter says the entire Biden family makes trailer trash meth heads look like respectable citizens. Texter, I'm having a MAGA yard sign sale this weekend, 50% off, and will be sent to Trump campaign. I see what you're saying here. You're having a MAGA yard sale this weekend, and you're going to contribute 50%. I gotcha. I missed that first part. Thank you for that. Texter says, Joey, they need to be prosecuted for animal abuse. This is a story that I had for you yesterday about this medical research firm that had thousands of beagles that they had used for medical research. Broke my heart because I'm a pet lover. And I've got another pet story to tell you here in a minute. Texter, Joey, great to have you here in the upstate. We all need to donate and vote. I did $100. Roger. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate that. And we do. We need to support the president. And right now, we can't vote for him, but we can send him some money. Texter, Joey, the two bills makes it harder for veterans to get their military tags and their 100% disabled tax-free home tax credit. I guess this is the veterans bills that you were talking about earlier. Texter, might as well open the pipeline so we can have lower gas prices. But it's a shame trying to do something 5 months before election that Trump had already done. That's true. Texter, I remember Joe said months ago he couldn't do anything about the border. Congress had to. Now, all of a sudden, he can. Bologna. Stephen. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate that. Another quick reminder of our, speaking of elections, and of course, Tuesday, if you haven't already early voted, you can still go early vote. But next Tuesday, the 11th, is primary day in South Carolina. And we got a great event coming up. Join News Talk 98.9 WORD at the New Realm Brewing Companies at 912 South Main Street, downtown Greenville, for live primary coverage. We're going to start at 7 o'clock. My buddy Mike Gallagher and I will kick things off at 7 o'clock. And as soon as Charlie James can join us, he'll join us as well. So come meet Charlie James, Mike Gallagher, yours truly, for the best election night coverage. Free admission, and there's going to be some great prizes. RSVP at 989WORD.com and get a 10% food discount. It's Pints and Politics from your primary station, News Talk 98.9 WORD. Also, you can text RSVP to our Common Sense Retirement Planning text line, 71307. Just text RSVP to 71307 to reserve your spot. I hope I see you next Tuesday night. So yesterday I told you a pet story about these thousands of beagles who were discovered at this medical research facility. Well, I got another one for you. These stories about pets just tug at my heart because you know how much Jesse and Simon are a part of my life, Peg's life. They're our babies. If you're not a pet lover, you don't understand. I get that. A woman reportedly has learned that her dog, whom she believed had been euthanized in Maryland, is alive and well and is up for adoption, looking for his forever home again. Christy Pereira adopted her dog Bo in December of 2022. Sadly, she said she had to put him down due to medical complication. Pereira told the station, Fox 5 DC, that she recently spotted Bo on a Facebook page of a group that she adopted him from. Now she says she wants the dog back. So here's the story. She said, I don't think that someone that just wanted to get rid of the dog would feel anywhere close to how I'm feeling about this and how I felt about it. None of it was easy. Bo had major health problems, and she thought, according to veterinarians' advice, that she needed to put him down. Bo started acting differently about 2 months after he was adopted, she said. She said that she consulted with veterinarians, and it was concluded that Bo may have a neurological condition, citing major health problems. Pereira said that the vets told her that Bo's quality of life might not improve, and she should consider putting the dog down. Christy Pereira said that she loved her dog Bo, and it was a very difficult decision. Ultimately, she made that decision, and she took Bo to Montgomery County Animal Services to be euthanized. Fox 5 obtained a copy of the form that pet owners fill out when they bring a dog in for euthanasia in Montgomery County. There's a box in bold on the form that says that the pet owner is requesting humane euthanasia, but it also states that if Montgomery County Animal Services acknowledges the pet is treatable and adoptable, they can treat and have the pet adopted. Evidently, that's what happened. Officials with Montgomery County Animal Services say that after further evaluation, it was decided that Bo would be treated, and it was found that he had a liver issue, and it was decided that euthanasia wasn't appropriate. The organization then decided to return the dog to the original place where Pereira had adopted him. Pereira said she thought that she had put her dog down, never received a call from Animal Services or the adoption organization, and was shocked to see when the dog was up for adoption and was actually still alive and well. Wow, that would have been a surprise to see a dog that you thought had been euthanized up for adoption. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined our mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Just click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, find me on YouTube. Be sure and like, subscribe, follow me on my YouTube channel. Just search for Joey Hudson. Appreciate you spending a few minutes of your day with me. Be sure and forward this edition of Just the Truth to some friends. Just click on the share button. Send it to a few of your contacts, because if we're going to build our community and we're going to win in the June primaries, and if we're going to win in November especially, we got to build an army of conservatives. The way we beat Joe Biden is through educating people, and no better way than encouraging them to listen to Just the Truth. Hey, keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Your emails always welcome as well. Joey@joeyhudson.com. Don't forget to take advantage of the MyPillow special, $25 for the My Towels 6-piece towel set when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. We're back again tomorrow. Hope you will be too. Remember, God's got this. He's still in control.